Hello, military and aerospace enthusiasts. Welcome to our channel, Deep Dive Defense. Over here we take a deep look from unusual angles, which may challenge your mind. So let's dive right in. Today's video focuses on Israel's ballistic missile defense system, often falsely called the Iron Dome, which actually represents only its lower-tier component. The lower-tier components of Israel's missile defense are the David's Sling system and the Iron Dome. The development of David's Sling leveraged Israel's experience with developing the variants of the Barak 8 surface-to-air missile system. Given Israel's small size, its relatively small territory can be effectively covered by a network of potent sensors, primarily various radar systems. These radars can detect small radar cross-section ballistic missile targets early on, enabling the network to distinguish between decoys, spent empty boosters, and real warheads. The target signatures can be compared across different electromagnetic bands. Advanced computers then fuse this information into a unified battlespace picture, enhancing situational awareness and the selection of the most suited missile defense system for the threat type. It also enables a key concept called launch on remote. A missile launched on remote does not need a direct ascent towards the target, as quick as possible. Hence, it's not necessary to have a large, high kinematic performance interceptor like the Arrow 2. Even the still relatively large Arrow 3, which aims to avoid drag by exiting the atmosphere quickly, spends a large portion of its energy to reach the target as fast as possible. Instead, a missile launched on remote can travel at relatively low speeds and possessing with low kinematics towards the region in the airspace where the ballistic missile is roughly expected to come down. This approach conserves energy, which is why the David's Sling interceptor, named Stunner, is a relatively small two-stage layout. The first stage propels the missile to speed on a ballistic trajectory, and the second stage then sustains the missile at an efficient velocity in its endgame phase. This allows it to perform the necessary high-G maneuvers for intercepting a maneuverable hypervelocity target. Although the development of David's Sling began around the same time as Arrow 3, it emphasized cost-effectiveness as the main driver of the design. While interceptors like the Patriot PAC-3 can cost up to $4 million each, and the THAAD system even significantly more, the Arrow family kept prices in the $2 to $3 million range. David's Sling aimed to intercept targets up to the medium-range ballistic missile class, but at a significantly lower cost than the Arrow family or the comparable US systems. One of the key strategies to achieve this was to avoid an active radar seeker, as the Arrow family had also done before. The K-band seeker of the Patriot PAC-3 is a major cost driver for that missile system. Hence, a compact imaging infrared seeker was chosen for the Stunner interceptor of the David's Sling system. Although this does not provide the all-weather capability of the PAC-3's active radar seeker, nor its immunity to infrared decoys, Israel leveraged its relatively dry climate to make this choice a justifiable one. It's an example where the defense industry of a country selects the most efficient solution, instead the one with the most revenue, because national survival may depend on it. The infrared seeker head of the Stunner interceptor did not require an aerodynamic and thermal protection cap like the Arrow 2 system. Instead, it was built into the aerodynamic nose structure of the interceptor, reducing costs. This design solution was possible due to the missile's lower maximum speed, which was made feasible by the launch on remote capability from the sensor side. Additionally, David's Sling exploited another advantage of a missile with sophisticated launch on remote capability, remaining within the denser layers of the atmosphere during the endgame phase. This terminal operation regime in the denser atmosphere provided the necessary endgame steering capability to engage evasive targets, as the Stunner purely depended on aerodynamic steering instead of thrust vectoring or divert thrusters. The threat of aeroballistic missiles and maneuverable re-entry vehicles, which Iran was increasingly working on and deploying during the 2010s, required such high interceptor maneuverability. While the expensive PAC-3 missile features a lateral divert thruster arrangement for instant course high-altitude turn capability and aerodynamic fins for fine-trimming the steering, David's Sling cleverly avoided this by two design features. The first one used a very unusual asymmetrical nose tip design. During normal flight, the aerodynamically unstable missile needs to be actively stabilized by its steering fins. But when an instant high-magnitude turn is required, the missile is aligned along its roll axis via the aerodynamic fins, and left free to become aerodynamically unstable. It is rapidly steered into the desired direction by sudden drag forces acting on its asymmetric geometry nose, which are no longer actively stabilized by the fins. This layout and its inherent instability give the interceptor an instant turn capability that can be sufficient to intercept a ballistic target moving at much higher speeds relative to it and performing evasive maneuvers. Thus, the Stunner Interceptor can be described as a relatively low-altitude ballistic missile interceptor with an aerodynamically unstable design, a layout greatly enabled by the high-end sensor suite supporting it. The second key design element enhancing the Stunner Interceptor's instant turn rate capability is the combination of canard steering fins at the top and aft steering fins at its rear. These fins work in combination by leveraging their increased distance to the missile's center of gravity. They exert a high torque force on the missile's center of gravity when acting in opposite directions, significantly boosting its instant turn capability in low drag conditions. This design solution also eliminates the need for a thrust vectoring system on the booster stage, ensuring the missile quickly tilts towards the correct interception trajectory after vertical hot launch from the canisters of the David Sling battery. This approach not only reduces costs associated with a thrust vectoring system, but also, as mentioned, enhances the missile's maneuverability and turn capability necessary to hit maneuverable high-velocity ballistic targets. A technological hurdle for a purely aerodynamic steered interceptor to work effectively is to get the electromechanical actuator delay for steering the fins under control. The faster a target becomes, the quicker sudden motions need to be reacted against. Targets that reach a certain velocity can reach intense and random motion amplitudes during re-entry, which are too quick for actuators to react to. This becomes a larger concern for small hit-to-kill interceptors like Stunner, as compared to a large interceptor like Aero 2, with its heavy directional fragmentation warhead. Another problem is that aeroballistic or hypersonic threats can significantly change their course in their late flight phase. The launch on remote concept of the David Sling depends on a right estimation by the sensor suite, where the missile will appear in time and space. If the cross-range flexibility of the missile threat is too high, several interceptors must be launched to several statistically likely impact regions to make an interception feasible. Ripple launch of several interceptors decreases the improved cost-effectiveness the David Sling was meant to enable. Nevertheless, it is believed that the David Sling Stunner Interceptor costs up to 8 times less than a Patriot PAC-3 interceptor, bringing Israeli missile defenses somewhat closer to cost parity with some of the higher-end, more expensive Iranian ballistic missiles. However, against highly cost-efficient types like Rezvan and Desful MRBM, it's still significantly more expensive. Similar to the Aero family, the David Sling family also relies heavily on component production outsourced to the United States. This strategy improved the design phase and manufacturing costs of the Stunner interceptors via the cooperation with Raytheon and its Skyceptor program. It also leverages the foreign military aid granted by the United States to Israel, provided that majority US-produced weapons are acquired. The Stunner interceptor's miniaturized design, achieved through features like the hit-to-kill method instead of a heavier warhead, makes it a potent counter against some of Iran's ballistic missile systems. However, some advanced Iranian ballistic missiles might necessitate endgame steering capabilities, which could exceed the Stunner's actuator response time and speed. The David Sling missile defense system is poised to become Israel's primary missile defense asset in the near term, with plans to include a future version equipped with active radar homing seeker. These miniaturized seekers will have the discrimination performance to avoid infrared decoys, while not being excessively expensive like Patriot PAC-3. Integrating a portion of the Stunner arsenal with such seekers would enhance the all-weather capability of the David Sling system and its performance against more demanding threats. Interestingly, a spectacular interception of a medium-range ballistic missile may have been performed by the David Sling system during Iran's strikes on Israel of April 2024. An interception, or less likely a re-entry vehicle failure, could be observed occurring during the subsequent descent of 5 MARV, with 4 impacting. The low altitude of the potential interception makes David Sling the most likely candidate for this remarkable achievement. The lowest tier component of the Israeli missile defense system is the Iron Dome system with its Tamir interceptor. The Iron Dome was primarily designed to counter unguided rockets and mortar, ranging from 20-kilometer Grad rockets of Soviet design to the Fajr 5 series made by Iran and other longer-ranged rockets developed for use by Palestinian groups and Lebanon's Hezbollah. Against this type of fast-moving targets, the Iron Dome's Tamir interceptor has an effective range of about 10 kilometers, which increases if slow targets like one-way attack drones are to be intercepted. Like the David Sling system, it employs high-performance radars, specifically the EL-M2084 S-band ASA radar, to launch Tamir interceptors in launch-on-remote mode towards the predicted impact area of rockets. This normally only occurs against threats deemed to put vital objects like urban, military, and industrial areas at risk. During the terminal portion of the interception, the Tamir jettisons its aerodynamic shroud and exposes either an imaging infrared or active radar seeker, as the missile has two seeker options. Easier types of targets are intercepted with the infrared seeker, while more demanding objects like, for example, cruise missile can be intercepted with the active radar seeker. Once in position, the missile then turns its directional fragmentation warhead towards the targeted rocket by rolling the missile, allowing it to effectively neutralize the threat. Like other Israeli missile defense systems, the Tamir interceptor of the Iron Dome is partially produced in the United States. At a cost of around $160,000 per round, it is several tens of times more expensive than the rockets it intercepts. However, the limited quantity of rockets possessed by Palestinian groups such as Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad allows for its effective use. The high-performance radars precisely determine whether a rocket impact would cause harm and which rockets do not require a relatively costly interception. The coverage provided by Iron Dome against opponents with low-capacity rocket arsenals like the Palestinian Hamas and Islamic Jihad is invaluable for Israel and is enabled by its small territorial size. However, the Iron Dome's envelope of protection decreases as the range of the rockets and missiles it faces increases. Ballistic objects descending at speeds of Mach 3 to 4 are the maximum class of targets that can be intercepted with a reasonable probability of kill and area protected, meaning rockets and missiles with ranges above 150 to 200 kilometers become increasingly difficult and unlikely to be intercepted. The Iron Dome can also be easily overwhelmed in salvo launch saturation scenarios, where multiple rockets are launched simultaneously, and the Iron Dome batteries are limited by their magazine depth. This limitation is particularly concerning against adversaries like Hezbollah in Lebanon, who could easily overwhelm Iron Dome batteries and have done so in their 2024 Grad strikes. Additionally, the cost-exchange ratio against newer guided rockets is not favorable, as guided rockets would need to be intercepted on a one-to-one basis due to their accuracy. Hence, because each such guided rockets, like Iranian guided Grad variants, poses a threat, the cost-exchange ratio increases to factors beyond 10. The effectiveness of Iron Dome against cruise missiles and one-way attack drone targets is somewhat limited due to its specialization in countering weapons on ballistic trajectories, such as rockets and mortars. But hardware-wise, the system has all features necessary to allow the interception of such terrain-masking threats, albeit at potentially shorter ranges. Nonetheless, the Iron Dome remains a highly capable and sophisticated missile defense system, forming the lowest tier of Israel's multi-layered missile defense force structure. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video and like our work, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. We will try our best to answer your comments. Your support would be greatly appreciated and motivates to produce more content in the future. Thank you, and have a great day.